such an amazing singer. Have you ever thought about auditioning for American Idol, The Voice, X Factor, America's Got Talent?
So how many of my singer friends out there have heard the expression, wow, you are such an amazing singer. Have you ever thought about auditioning for The Voice or going to try out for America's Got Talent or American Idol or any one of the above talent competition shows? Now, if you're a singer, I'm sure at some point in your singing journey, someone has come up to you and said, you're amazing, you should try out for The Voice. That would be great for you, great for your career. And maybe you even consider it. Maybe you've auditioned for one of those shows before. Maybe that's something that you've always wanted to do. And I think we've all been there. I definitely have. I know a lot of singers that have auditioned and have actually gotten on those shows and gotten pretty far in those types of competition shows. And some have loved it, some have had different experiences, but that's what this video is all about today. Thanks for being here, guys. Welcome to my channel. My name is Alyssa Harris. I'm a vocalist, a vocal coach, music educator, just coming on here with some tips and tricks for all my fellow singers out there. This is a safe space. I love to grow our singer community. So before we jump into the video, make sure that you are subscribed and hit that notification bell so that you never miss an upload. So today we're going to be talking about talent, TV shows, reality shows, talent competition type shows, how they affect us as singers. Okay, so I want to talk about the culture. I want to talk about my experience also on the show I Can See Your Voice, because a lot of people have been reaching out to me and asking about it. So in this video, I'm going to go into detail. Now it's going to be a podcast style video, so make sure that you just grab a drink, or if you're doing chores or something, put on those headphones, and I'm going to be talking, and let's just jump right in. Now, a little bit of background about reality TV and singing shows. So singer reality shows are nothing new. Talent contests, talent-based TV shows, and competition type shows have been a thing since the 1940s. A lot of them used to follow a format where it was focused kind of on whole performances. And this type of TV show is very unique, right? Because it kind of spotlights amateurs or otherwise just normal everyday people that have talent, and kind of shows the possibility that, an average everyday person can just come in from off the street and show up on this TV show and display their talent to the world and get discovered essentially and become this big star and become this celebrity, right? Or at the very least, just get exposure and expose their talent to the world. And that's what a lot of these shows really are based around. But on the other hand, and up until recently, a lot of the attention that these types of shows would draw, aside from, the quintessential, person who has these big dreams of being a rising star and being a performer, whether that's singing or comedy or some kind of specialty act, it's actually a lot of the attention that these types of shows would draw would not actually be about the talent, but more about the lack of. So we have to remember that even though these are talent shows, and they're competitions, they are for TV, right? Which at the end of the day, all TV and all types of media, it's about making money, which is about entertaining people, getting views, getting ratings, getting, popularity, so that they can, at the end of the day, make more money. So it's really, the people that are on the show are a product, no matter what, no matter if they're good or bad. Up until recently, a lot of the attention that these types of shows would draw would not actually be about the talent, but more the lack of. So some of these shows would feature like bad or dubious talent for comic relief. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. A few early examples of this are The Gong Show from 1976, where one of the celebrity judges would gong an act that was particularly bad, or Showtime at the Apollo, where audiences could jeer and boo at a subpar entertainer until they're eventually swept off stage by the Sandman. And then, of course, we're all guilty, especially us millennials, of watching those really cringeworthy X Factor / American Idol auditions where people would go on there and they're not conventionally talented, and some people were just straight up awful, right? And they would get laughed at and criticized by the judges. Much of this legit seems to be to their surprise, which is crazy to me. Like, looking back, it seems like they didn't know what was going on, and I think some of the people there might have been. Some of them might have been actors, but it seemed like most of the bad acts that they featured during those American Idol auditions, it seemed that they were under the impression that they made it to the show because the producers thought that they were good, not because they were getting set up to be made fun of on national TV. So that seemed to be a part of the draw and the entertainment value for some of these talent type shows. And side note, I feel kind of morally against that. Even if I wasn't a performer, I would feel that way. I think it's really mean. I can admit I've laughed. Okay, I have laughed in the past when I was younger at those types of, bad auditions. You can literally Google it to this day. Go on YouTube and you can find bad auditions. They still exist, and I'm not saying I never laughed at them, but just now, in this day and age, it doesn't sit well with me. It kind of feels like bullying looking back, right? I hate the idea that someone was like deceived into being on TV for what they thought was their talent, and that wasn't the case. Maybe I'm sensitive, but again, looking back, it just feels so wrong. Thankfully, I think that type of entertainment, when it comes to talent TV shows, I think it's phased out. Although last year I did watch Showtime at the Apollo live in Harlem, and they still had folks on there looking and sounding crazy and straight up getting booed off stage, and it was very cringe. Mostly because I thought of like the young and really green singers that may be discouraged from ever performing again. Like there was a girl that got up there and sang, and she was super young, like 19 years old, and she wasn't even bad. She just wasn't experienced, and she seemed really nervous, and she probably cracked a few times. And people were booing her, and she was really brave to do that, but I'm just hoping that didn't shatter her confidence to keep going as a performer. It's just tacky. I just don't like it. I don't like that format, and I'm glad that we've moved on as a society from that. It seems that the executive producers of today would agree with that. I think that they also know that it's not really a format that is going to work in today's day and age. I saw a quote from the executive producer at ABC's Television Critics Association press tour. She said, "Because one of the key things about the show is that it shouldn't feel manipulated or fake, because 15 years ago nobody had ever seen it and it was funny. Viewers know now, they've all watched these shows in 15 years, and it doesn't feel comfortable to put borderline unstable people up and laugh at them." So even the people that are creating this media, they know now that that's not an angle that they want to approach these talent shows with. And I haven't watched that many of them recently, like the traditional styles like Idol and X Factor, but I think they're still putting humor in there, but it's not at the expense of aspiring singers who are not good and they're just there for a laugh. Then, of course, in the more recent years, you have shows that take kind of more of an emotional angle, and they're trying to tell a story, or they're trying to show that the contestant is an underdog in some way, or that they have kind of like a rags to riches or ordinary to extraordinary storyline. I think that appeals to people. It appeals to people's emotions. I think people like that. The whole premise behind the blind auditions that they do on the show The Voice, where the judge has to like spin their chairs when they hear something that they like, so that the artist is judged purely on their sound and not by their looks or their proximity to fitting within like the standard pop star mold. I think that format is what I've been seeing in like the most recent years, especially because I feel, like I said, it appeals to others that can relate, like the average person, not particularly in the music industry, but in any area. Like a lot of people can relate to feeling like maybe they don't measure up, or that they could be more successful if they looked a certain way, or if they didn't have this hardship, or for lack of a better word, they have a sob story that could help audiences make them more connected and make them just kind of feel where they're coming from. I think that's a really successful angle that these singing talent TV shows have approached in the last couple years. And I'm not saying it's good or bad, but that definitely seems to be what they're running with recently in those types of shows. And last but not least, we have the game show format that is like a talent type TV show that is more gamified. So for example, the show I Can See Your Voice or Masked Singer, and the show Don't Forget the Lyrics, where it's more of like a game setup and there's a contestant player element to it. It's less about the particular singer's career, and like for example, the people that are on The Masked Singer are already like famous singers and celebrities and entertainers. So the premise and the objective is totally different. It's not, oh, there's this no name somebody from, whatever town, USA, and they're trying to become a star. It's more of, it's gamified. There's a contestant. For example, the show I did, it wasn't about me competing against others as a singer, but it did spotlight me, and it was an overall way for the contestant to get closer to her prize money. So those types of TV talent shows exist as well. And let me know if there are any other types of shows that I may have left out. But those are kind of like the backgrounds and the basics of reality TV singing shows. Now, my next question is, does appearing on a talent TV show contest guarantee success for an artist or a performer? There are current household names that are in the position that they're in based on the success that they had and how far they went on a reality show. There are so many, but I'll name a few of my favorites that are from my generation specifically. I'm going to name the ones that I know from American Idol just because that was the show I watched the most when I was younger. So Kelly Clarkson, Fantasia, Jennifer Hudson. Many have gone on to have successful careers in arts and entertainment, not just as recording artists, but like actors as well. So like Catherine McPhee, Ace. I could go on. I was just a huge fan in those years. And I know that when you win one of those shows, it's great for exposing who you are as an artist and a performer. And I know you also receive prize money and or a recording contract, which is a game changer for a lot of musicians. For some people who their career started by appearing on these shows, I could see that being an incredible incentive. But for others who may be already working and recording music and are using the show to get to that next level, they might actually find that participating in these types of shows will hinder their career, and they might be limited in a few different ways. One show, The Voice in particular, has gotten a lot of criticism for the career success or lack thereof that their participants see after winning or appearing on that show. Some say it's because TV shows like The Voice over-focus on the singer and not on artist development, and that's something that solidifies longevity in most quality music careers. And because they're most focused on performance and vocal ability, something that is not as prioritized in the state of music today, they inevitably fall into obscurity. While I agree that most popular songs in pop music today are less focused on singing ability and more on like the production of the song, the catchiness, and the vibe, because that's what it is in 2024, it's all about vibes. In other words, these shows do not prepare singers for the music industry of 2024. Instead, they're preparing them for an industry landscape that no longer exists. Overall, I think that participating in these types of shows can pose benefits for singers, but they do not necessarily guarantee that you will be successful. And in general, nothing really does, because honestly, there are so many different factors that are going to determine whether or not you become successful as a singer.
And one more thing I wanted to add about the inevitable effect of a performer appearing on one of these types of shows. It's going to benefit you no matter how far you get on the show, because associating with these big names of these big TV shows on these networks like Fox and ABC, like you have this name behind you that increases your credibility as a performer like times 1,000. So no matter if you place, if you become a finalist, or if you win, just being associated with one of these types of shows can really do wonders for your resume and your credibility as an artist. It can help you book more gigs. It can help kind of your clout online. It can help you gain followers. It can help you get hired to do certain events, and it can just really look good as a part of, your credibility, your tagline. Oh, such and such was the finalist on The Voice. That really gives you a lot of, people will already assume that you're very good. If you can handle doing something like a huge TV show, performing on national television, you must be good, and that means you must be great for whatever it is that you're going out for. So I think no matter how far you get, on the show, I think just being associated with it in general can do wonders for a performer.
wanted to talk about my experience on I Can See Your Voice because, like I said, a lot of people have been asking me, what was it like? How did I get that opportunity? And I wanted to just tell you guys a little bit about the experience. It was very unique. It was one of the most interesting experiences, one of the coolest things I've done ever in my career, and I'm excited to talk about it now. The show aired this year in January, and it's been so great, just like the outpouring of support from people, and I had such a great time. And even though I filmed it in 2022, it took a while for the show to come out, and now it's out, so I'm excited to talk about it with people. The secret's out, right?
Hey guys, side note, forgive the sound right here on this segment. I know there's a little bit of muffling. I was co-working for this part of my recording, so there was a little bit of chatter in the background, so hope it's not too distracting. Sorry.
So at the end of 2022, I participated in the singing show I Can See Your Voice on Fox, hosted by Ken Jeong. Now, I had heard of that show before. My friend was actually on one of the first episodes of the show, and so I was really familiar with it, and I actually had been scouted for it in that same first year when it came out, but it wasn't until, a few years later when I got the call to audition, and I got a little bit further. So I got a random email one day from one of the producers of the show. Actually, they reached out through my website, my official website, and they reached out to me on the contact box on there, and I really didn't think much of it. But I read it, and he said he's from the show and that he saw that I do a Diana Ross tribute act, and he wanted to know if I could jump like on a quick call with him. So I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds cool. And after a few calls and follow-ups, I was asked to send in some videos of myself performing, and I also was scheduled for a group interview with him and the other producers and the people on the team for the show. He had prepped me for this group interview. He told me kind of some of the questions that they were going to be asking me, and how could I be prepared, how I could be like prepared for the call. And he told me that they were going to ask me like different types of questions, and one of them was, what kinds of jobs did you do, right? Because they're trying to figure out what my personality would be on the show. If you haven't seen the show, you got to watch it or just know the premise of it, so it kind of makes sense what I'm saying here. And I told them, I'd done a couple gigs here and there. I mentioned I was an aerobics instructor and that I taught Zumba and spin, and that's where the decoy character of spin instructor was born, and that's the character I played on my episode. Now, they had initially been looking at me for the show, and they were unsure where to place me, because that particular season of the show, they were going to have like themed episodes, they said. So they wanted tribute artists, they wanted sports themed. The episode I was on was like divas themed. And so they liked the fact that I was a pretty experienced like wedding and cruise events type of singer, and they knew that meant that I had a deep knowledge of a lot of different songs, and they knew I'd be great just with the depth of knowledge of songs that I knew. And so they decided to offer me a position of being a swing, so like a sub and a fill-in. So that meant flying to Atlanta, that's where the show was shot, and learning all of the material alongside the singers that were chosen for the show. And they told me that I'd be put on just in case something happened. If something happened to one of the singers on the show, then I would jump in and do the episode. They explained the lucrativeness of this because they told me instead of being there for a few days to film one episode, I'd be there for the entirety of the shoot dates. So I'd get paid for over 3 weeks, and that paid really well, and the experience working with everyone on the show, and if something happens and I did get put in, I'd be in the show. If not, I'd be guaranteed to go on the show next season. So it was all kind of like a win-win in that offer. But initially, of course, I was a little disappointed because I wanted a guaranteed role on the show, but I accepted it because I thought, well, you never know. It's gonna be a fun, good experience regardless of what happens. And so that's what I did. I figured, hey, I'll just do it. It's a learning experience. I'm just going to go for it. So they flew me to Atlanta. The whole team was super nice. I got into the hotel. They also got me a rental car because, I'd be there. I was planning to be there for a few weeks. And the first day that I got there, I didn't have rehearsals, but I jumped into rehearsal the following day. And our rehearsals were like Monday through Friday, and we were still getting administered COVID tests like every single day before we'd walk in. And the format of the rehearsals was like, I was kind of in like a hotel ballroom, and there was other people there that were from the show, but they told us they still kind of wanted everything to be a secret, even on our end, because they really like to keep the show really honest. And so I didn't talk to any of the other contestants. I didn't talk to anybody, even though I would like see them in the hallways. But basically a whole day would be me working with the vocal coaches, working with the choreographers, and learning the material from the episodes. So that was really fun because I got to work with some top vocal coaches, which taught me so much. Like I got some top tier elite vocal coaching and got paid for it, and that was amazing. And so after about 2 weeks of doing that and, you know, learning all the material for all the episodes for the season, it happened. The day finally came, and someone, I think, got sick and had to drop out, and I was up. And so I got put in, and it just so happened to be on the Divas episode, which was so great because it's on brand for me, you know, with the shows that I do, the tribute shows. And yeah, so I was featured as spin instructor on season 3, episode 3, and it was really an incredible experience. You know, I didn't know any of the other singers' ability until the day of, because like I said, they didn't have us talking to anybody else. And so it was just really fun, and filming and doing the rehearsal. The day before we filmed, we did like a full hair and makeup and costume run, and we blocked like the whole stage. They told us where to stand, what to do, what it's going to be like with the judges, yada yada. And then the next day, the day of the filming, we got up at like 5 a.m., got to the studio lot, which was like, apparently that's where they shoot a lot of different videos and TV shows and game shows. Also, like Tyler Perry has some studios there apparently because it's in Atlanta. So that was kind of cool, like going from lot to lot on the little golf carts. That was a lot of fun. And yeah, the whole day was just a crazy experience. It went by so fast. I didn't know when I was going to get eliminated, but when it happened, it was just like, it was a surprise. But I love how our episode turned out. I think it was great. I liked that I got to do my song. Of course, I would have loved to sing with Dionne Warwick. But yeah, just getting to sing for all those people was a great time. And yeah, it was an experience I will never forget. Now, would I ever do like a reality show like The Voice, American Idol? Probably not at this stage in my career. I'm not closed off to the idea, but I don't necessarily know if that's the direction that I want my career to go in right now. Maybe in the past I would have thought that, because I've certainly auditioned in the past, but as of now, I think I've kind of ticked off my reality TV show bucket list for now by doing that show. And like I said, I had a lot of fun and I don't regret anything. I'm glad I did it, and yeah, it's just a great thing to look back on. And yeah, if you haven't seen it, make sure you go watch it.
Spin instructor, let's see your voice!
Please be terrible.
Please be bad, please be bad, please be bad, please be bad.
That was outstanding. Who are you really?
My name is Alyssa Harris. I starred in Vegas the Show and played Tina Turner.
Wow!
Give it up for spin instructor. Amazing.
Hey guys, so that's gonna do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, my name is Alyssa Harris. I wanna know about your experiences. If you're a singer, have you ever auditioned for one of these shows? Have you ever been on one of these shows? Or if you're an avid watcher or an enjoyer of these shows, what is your opinion about them? And do you think that they are a success strategy for singers? I'm really curious to hear what you guys think about this. And if you like this video, make sure you like it, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss anything. As well, I want you guys to follow me on social media. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and if you're a singer and you're looking for, other like-minded singers, specifically for my female singers out there, if you're looking for community, make sure you join our Facebook group. It's where we come together, we talk about gigs, we talk about ideas, we share information, I share opportunities. I'm always in there posting content. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.